Mikey, I think you and I are
I
on
feel
the air.
live for some reason. I don't know why, but I feel like we're on live on the air, in the air, on the internets, on the tubes of the world internets.
We're in the air everywhere. Right now, if you're in Bangladesh,
Good
you
luck
could
to you.
click and hear us. If you're in Buffalo, New York, which is sometimes like Bangladesh,
You get the two confused. I personally get the two confused all the time. Buffalo, Bangladesh. Didn't George
Buffalo's a
Harrison
fine
do a
state.
concert for?
Bangladesh, I don't know about too much. I've been to Buffalo enough times to know that it's one of those back east cities that could be was once greater than it is, could be greater than it is in the future, but right now it's just kind of stuck in a place.
They're trying to come up with their next move in Buffalo.
Yeah, it's because it's too cold for the tech companies. It's hard to attract people there because of the cold. Yet,
Plus, tech company guys wear black turtlenecks even in the summer, so
right.
you got to accommodate them.
Yet it has football, has hockey, it has AAA baseball, um,
It has
and nice
Canada.
facilities.
Got some Canada right there handy if you need some.
And then if you want to go over to Major League Baseball, you can go over the bridge and go to Toronto and experience that if you really need that. Um, but AAA baseball actually works there real well because it's less expensive to go, and the median income there is a little lower, and you're close to you're close to the Finger Lakes, you're close to Pennsylvania, you're close to a lot of cool things, and it's also that section of New York is becoming quite the wine country.
What kind of wine are they growing up there?
Uh, I don't know exactly what kind of wine, but there are beef. I noticed it in the 10 years that I was back there, and I used to travel up to Buffalo a fair amount, that they were that more and more vineyards were growing alongside of the thruway.
I'm glad to see them coming up with an alternative industry because, as you know, in the past, George Harrison had the concert for Buffalo. And it was a beautiful, long, expensive. They had Bob Dylan and they had Leon Russell and they had Badfinger. They had
For
Billy
Buffalo?
Preston. Yeah. Well, did I get Buffalo and Bangladesh confused again?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah,
The
I think
concert
we
was
were
for
talking about
Bangladesh.
the. Yeah, I have the album. I still have
But
my
what did
cassette
Bangladesh do with all that money?
feed people, I guess. In Buffalo, it would go to corrupt politicians.
More like it. Now we're talking. Now I'm listening. I won't
Well,
confuse them
that's why these
again.
things happen, is because you have so many corrupt politicians
Now,
in a lot of these towns back east.
do they stay in Buffalo or do they train in Buffalo and then go to Chicago where a corrupt politician can make some money?
I think it depends on what. Well, Chicago's hard to crack. That scene is pretty hard to get into. You got to run for an alderman,
Those jobs are
uh,
taken.
which is going to take some money and some time. And then if you don't have a Chicago accent, who was an alderman there for many years was Jerry Butler.
Really? Jerry Butler of the top
Jerry Butler,
40?
the singer, was an alderman in Chicago for I think 20 years,
Wow.
something like that.
I
Yeah,
hope he got paid better than he did for his hits.
I'm sure he did.
He made up
I'm,
for it.
I'm sure he did. And a friend of ours is, I don't know if he's an alderman or a mayor right now in Michigan somewhere. Our good friend Billy McKinney.
Really?
Remember Billy McKinney?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Sonics. Yeah, he decided to take a political bend and ran for boy, I want to say mayor, but maybe it was just like head of the city council or something like that. Um, and he's had that job for at least 2 election cycles.
Now that we're getting too old to be of any service to anyone, maybe we should get into politics because fumbling about, not knowing what you're doing, making huge mistakes, insulting people, coming off of the wrong comment, doing the wrong thing, missing the vote. That's the mark of a successful politician in America.
Yeah, unfortunately, these days it is. It's how well do you manipulate the media? How well
Raise money.
do you make money? How much? What kind of? It's like the mafia. What kind of earner are you?
Good point. Great question. That's the first question I ask somebody when they come in for an interview.
Yeah,
So
what kind
tell
of
me,
earner are you?
yeah,
Do you
what can
can
you
you
earn?
earn for us? That's all we're interested in. We
You
don't care.
should.
You got morals. You got this. You think if Donald Trump had no money, he would be at the head of the Republican Party like he is,
You think
or if he didn't have the ability to raise money?
if he was only broke, he wouldn't be in all this trouble.
Yeah, I'd probably be in some other kind of trouble, but because he just seems to be a lightning rod for trouble.
He gathers in the sheaves. Now, there's this song about bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. I don't know what a sheave is, but if you have to bring one in, Donald Trump will help you if there's money involved with it. If there's money in sheaving, he's your man. Now,
Well,
he's going to be more interested in the money than in the sheaves. I'm going to point that out, telling you ahead of time. He doesn't care about the sheaves. It's only the money.
it is extremely interesting to me that Donald Trump is running. Everybody's pointing to his corruption, and now we have Hunter Biden, who it appears at some point used his father as kind of a club over somebody's head to collect some money.
Collateral
Well, I think he was.
or influence.
I don't know the entire context it is, but from what I have read and seen, what he has done is he was sitting there with somebody who didn't pay him like they were supposed to pay him. And he said, I'm sitting here with my father, the president of the United States, and we want to get this thing resolved today, tonight, now.
Now, forgive me for being pertinent about this, but we're in the middle of the who, what, where, when, and how of this story. Who wrote this story? How did you hear about it? What's the source?
The source I don't know. I saw the graphic on CNN, which really has no axe to grind with Biden. I mean, if anything, they would be protecting him.
I don't know what
And it's a
CNN's axe is all
conversation that was
about.
taped between Hunter, much as people tape Trump's conversations. You also have people, on the other side, of course, taping, Hunter Biden and
So
all this stuff.
you heard the tape on CNN?
I saw the quote. You know how they put up the closed captioning thing. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Um, I think what I do believe though is that of 325 plus million people in this country, we can't do better than these two.
You mean Hunter Biden and Donald Trump?
No, no. Well, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I mean, I don't know. Like we were talking about the other day, the contract kind of was get in there, straighten things out, and hand it over to some younger meat.
Well, that contract was not implied. It doesn't exist anywhere in reality. What contract are you talking about?
I thought the kind of the basis of what people were looking at when when Joe Biden was elected president was that he was kind of this. He was going to put this thing together, back together, and then kind of go off into the sunset and get it ready for the next generation.
And who would that be?
Well,
Who's the leader that Joe Biden is preventing from being president?
well, I don't know who the leader is, Michael. I mean,
I don't even
I
see. I don't even see a part two. I remember I voted for Bernie in the California primary, but I don't even have a Bernie to vote for. I don't have any alternative to Joe Biden. So if you
the
see
only
one,
alternative now is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he's a whack job.
he's a very troubled soul. It's funny to see a Republican talking like that, and they just go, "Well, that's their problem. That's how they are. That's what they believe. That's how they roll. They roll with lies and strange stories, and they get to the point where they believe it, and then they get into a heat, and then they run for office. Now you take a Democrat from a Democratic family, from a long line of Democrats, from a long line of reliable politicians, as far as the Democrats are concerned, and you turn him just slightly askew. You get his beliefs going as if he was a good Republican. And then you get him out in the public and take him around and show him to people, and they go, "There's something wrong with this guy." But if he was a Republican, they'd say, right down the middle. You hit a homer on this one, boy. You got a future.
Yeah.
But as it is, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a troubled, sick fuck, as they say in the business.
He just, yeah, it just doesn't seem to. I don't know. First of all, he doesn't engender. He doesn't make me feel like he's a leader at all.
No, he
You
needs
know,
treatment.
at least Joe Biden, he had, vice president, and he had, a track record. He was around. He had led. Maybe he had borrowed some words from people. It happens all the time. But you kind of felt that at least he had foreign policy experience.
Which
He
he
had
has just
experience.
used this week, diffusing the problem with China. Whether a younger, more appealing Democrat to you have achieved that, have done that, and even thought of it, or having thought of it, would he have been able to execute it?
I wonder though if the younger Democrat would have not called Xi a dictator 15 minutes after they got everything settled.
Yeah, that's not it, but that's not an insult.
Well, the Chinese thought it was. But again, see, that's the weird thing with this. There's so much posturing going on between China and the United States. Now you got India involved, and so
I didn't know about the Indian Prime Minister. He has a dark history, and
he's a bundle of laughs, ain't he?
He's a lot of fun. Have you noticed his hands? They're absolutely huge, and he gestures with them with his finger that bends the wrong way. I'm going,
Yeah.
wow, these hands! My God, they're mysterious.
He's no Mahatma Gandhi, and
He
I
is
knew
not
Mahatma Gandhi, sir, and you are no Mahatma Gandhi.
No, you ain't got any. There's no Mahatma near that guy. I looked all over him, but couldn't find a Mahatma.
No, there's you increasingly look at these countries and this one included, and you say how first of all, how do you manage that many people?
The most
They've
on the planet.
got more people in China now
Yep.
in India.
Isn't that
So
hard to believe? And look at the size of it. Where are they putting them? Where are they putting everybody? All these new people.
well, if you see India, any films of India, it seems like they're putting them on top of each other.
In the
I mean,
cities.
it's people still live at home. Families all live in one place. I mean, it's a very interesting place. It doesn't look like much fun over there.
You know what? You know what he made his reputation with is the ancient hate and war between the Muslims and the Hindus.
Yeah.
And it goes back a long way. But the Hindus were there a long time before there were Muslims. There was no religion like that. It was revealed from the prophet. And when it started, the Hindus took it personally. And they never got over that. And for all the transcendental meditation understanding that has come with the Eastern religions, there's a level of resentment that it seems to be born into the Indians and the Muslims that it will not go away. And if you just want to start a fight on the street, it won't take long. If all you need is the idea that there might have been a Muslim doing something wrong, and terrible events will transpire as a result of that long ago hate.
You see it here up in Canada. There's a lot of friction in Vancouver between the Muslim Indian community and the Hindus and the Sikhs, and I mean it just seems to be people that hold 5,000-year grudges, kind of like my Uncle Mush.
That's unfortunate. I was hoping we could leave Mush out of this, but it's a good example of how far off the track you can go when you're led by the dark side of our nature.
People I mean, there are people who still remember a slight or a thing that somebody did or didn't do, 5,000 years ago,
And they ain't
and
over it yet. They ain't
it,
over it
it
today.
carries to today. And it's kind of like the Republicans and the Democrats. I mean, I always believed that the Republicans are still looking to get even for Nixon. I mean, all of this time,
They're
and
looking to
they
get
still,
even some. They want somebody to get even for all those years of Roosevelt. We
yeah.
never liked Roosevelt. We didn't vote for him, and he won 4 times. How do you think we feel? How do you feel? Well, we feel awful. I want you to know that we feel terrible about it.
And it's not about doing anything for the people. It's about doing things for themselves. And I suspect that happens on a larger scale between the Hindus and the Muslims. And in the Muslim community, you have the Sunnis and the Shiites. I mean, you just have every community seems to be divided. Now, we never used to have that here in the United States. As much as we were, didn't agree politically on things, you had a certain sense of decorum, certain sense of you didn't go bomb your neighbors, you didn't hate people solely because of their political views. For the most part, I
Unless,
mean, obviously,
unless of course, the Jews wanted to play at your golf club. No, we're not
right,
having any of that. We're not.
right.
I told you we're loving, wonderful Christian people. That's why we have no Jews.
Until you're black or you're Jewish and you want to play golf,
Not going to happen.
then it's well. The lucky thing was the Jews and the Italians. I think I've told you the story before. The Churchill Golf Club, where they had the big golf club. I forget the name of it now, and they wouldn't let any Italians in. So and Jews. So the Italians bought the property right across the street from their golf club, and they built the golf club that was better than the one that was across the street. And
And
they
they wouldn't let them
invited
play.
anybody, come on and play.
Ooh, good move.
And so you had this one side of the highway. Was it Turtle Creek was the town? One side of the highway had the snuffy snuffs, and the other side had all the guys that built the golf course on that side built the golf course on this side, and they let anybody in. You can pay your
Anyway,
membership dues. Come on in.
get in here, play golf.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on, and yeah, I mean in certain areas, yeah, especially as you the further south you went, especially, you know, but
I like that story. I'm a Sikh. Can I play? Sure. Get in here. You'll feel better. You won't be Sikh.
yeah,
You'll be in the Queens. You'll
you're
be
going to be a
Queens.
bad golfer like the rest of us, and I bet you got some dirty jokes and some bad stories just like the rest of us.
Is it still there? The golf.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in fact,
That's something they don't do. They don't tear down golf clubs and build apartments, do they? It's the other way around.
um, except in Caddyshack 2,
That's a good
where
source. That's a
I'll
better
have
source
to.
than your. That's a better source than your story about Hunter Biden.
Well, no, the Hunter Biden thing. I mean, go look at CNN. It's probably all over YouTube. Uh, oh,
CNN's had a rough patch, but they did do something last night that was excellent. I don't know if you happen to see parts of or any of the interview with the film director who did. Oh damn! I can't think of his name. He was
James
on
Cameron.
James Cameron. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that whole interview.
Extraordinary interview. He's an authority on the subject. He's built these items, and he knows that these guys were pikers from the word go. They were trying to take advantage of a situation where you could sell tickets to see a graveyard,
Yeah,
and there
but
was
there's
no.
also people that are disputing what he's saying. Now, the way he explained it in that interview, it made perfect sense to me because I know about carbon fiber and I know about those materials because they use them in cars. The whole Corvette cage is made out of carbon fiber. The car I was driving 2 weeks ago, had plastic panels hung on a carbon fiber chassis. So I know, I know a little bit about it. I mean, not a lot. I'm not an expert. I'm not an SAE guy on it, but I can tell you that and having worked on fiberglass before, I know how that works. That there are, it's not one solid piece like steel. It's a compendium of many layers of material that are bonded together. Now, the chemical bond on carbon fiber is supposed to make it stronger than steel. But
But if you take it down far enough,
or take it down too many times, or
yeah,
like anything. And the fact that these guys didn't want to get it inspected and all of that stuff,
certified one, yeah,
it doesn't sit well.
no.
It does. It just doesn't feel. Um, I don't know. Now that the more you know about it, I thought that was one of the best interviews I'd ever seen on television.
Yes, totally,
Yeah,
totally explain the situation.
he explained it
And
as
I
an
and I and I
expert can
and I
explain
thought
it.
that Anderson was almost flummoxed in some places. He didn't know what to ask next because it was like out of his league.
Well, I think there was also a delay there. I saw that live, and I think they were having trouble because they had trouble with a few other people that they were, because I guess they're sending the signal from his
Boston.
Zoom, his computer, back to CNN, up to Newfoundland, where Anderson was. So I wouldn't, I don't, I've seen Anderson get flummoxed, and he didn't look flummoxed to me.
It was
Um,
quite an interview. It was
It
I was
it
on I
was a
was on the
great
edge I
interview. I'm not going to
was
take
on the
anything
edge of my
away from
seat.
that interview. Um, I think he handled it. I think Anderson Cooper handled it well. And I think he had the right guest who
He had the
knew
right guess.
who knew exactly what was going on, was credible, and
Cameron's good to making the route. He's talking to everybody now because he's
yeah,
such an
yeah.
authority.
I saw him on a, or at least pictures of him on a bunch of different news outlets. But I think CNN had him first, if I'm not mistaken. And that was, like I said, it was one of the best interviews
Yeah,
I'd ever seen on television. That interview will go down as textbook for how you interview a guest in a crisis situation. I mean, that's first of all, the person who had Cameron's number that could call him and
right.
get him on, the producer, should get their salary doubled.
I agree. Good catch.
It
The
was
thing
yeah,
about that interview that was so chilling was that he felt that he knew from the word go that they were gone, that there was no chance whatsoever that they were trapped somewhere because of the nature of the type of accident that would take out a submersible like that is not a gradual, you don't spring a leak and then come to the surface.
right.
In fact, one doctor talked about the vehicle would have compressed at 15,000 miles an hour to the point where you wouldn't have even recognized that there was a problem. You may have heard something, but would have never been able to calculate what it was before it was over, and you were mincemeat. They said
Uh,
there would be no bones, no tissue, nothing but particles left.
yeah, no, nothing. You probably, and it's so deep that half the fish don't even go down there.
The fish got a heyday. I don't know how they describe their picnics, but they you go down as a millionaire and an explorer and an adventurer, you wind up as fish food, just like everything else.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I find it fascinating that they thought that they knew this on Sunday night, or at least they
Why?
knew something had happened because they picked it up on microphones. Cameron says that he knew Monday morning that it was over. Um, should have they have done the search, or should have they? I guess my bigger question is, what should they have done? Should they have kept searching and not tell the families, or should they have told the families
And kept searching.
and kept searching?
Um,
I'm
I
just
would
saying,
have.
I don't think there's a right or wrong. Well, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to it, but
I
it's
think
an
I'd tell the
interesting conundrum.
families. I think I would want to know if I were the families that there was very little chance of any positive outcome. The
Yeah,
chance of positive outcome less than 2%,
yeah,
because
I think, yeah,
because
I
it's
agree
such
with you.
an unforgiving environment. Nothing happens halfway.
Yeah, it's all or nothing at that
Yeah.
at that depth. You like you said, you don't spring a leak. Superman isn't going to pull the thing up with the water coming down.
Now, why
Uh,
not? God damn Superman. Where was he?
he should have been around. At super speed, he probably could have done something, but he wasn't. He didn't. It's a fantasy. So
It's funny that even the equipment that was required to go down and take a look was days away. That type of equipment that reliably can go to 13, 14, 20,000 feet. You don't get it at the Radio Shack and bring it on over. Get me a
right,
depth provider and get over here in a hurry. No way.
right. Well, and I think one of the things that you always have to remember in these types of things, in car racing and any of these things that require um, uh, a grand amount of danger involved in them, that when you get in the thing, you know, or you should know. You know, that maybe the one person I feel sorry for, I mean, I feel sorry for all of them, but is the kid.
Because he knew.
Because the kid, is going with his father. And the father, who knows what the father told the kid. Oh, come on, this will be the adventure of a lifetime. Blah 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 blah. I don't know that, and nobody really knows or will know what that interaction was. But that's the one that kind of, you know, puts
Well,
me
he's the
on
one that
edge a little bit.
he was the one, according to the stories from the family, didn't want to go, was terrified of the experience, but was doing it to bond with his dad. It was a thing that his father thought was important. All right, dad likes this idea. I don't want to go. It scares me. I'm terrified. Now, how many 19-year-olds will admit to being terrified? Not that many.
If I was terrified, I would have never gotten. Well, I would have never gotten in that thing anyway. Anyway, because I'm claustrophobic, so you're
And
not
you
going to get
just,
me in there.
it's, Vinny, so am I. I can't stand that type of cramped conditions. I cannot bear it.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, you
And
couldn't.
just
You
to
couldn't.
sit on the floor in a tube at 20,000 feet? No,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, I got the willies. I toured many years ago. I toured one of the nuclear submarines that's over here at Bangor,
Ooh,
and I got
no
a and I
way.
got a VIP tour of that thing. And I got to tell you that I was uneasy just in that thing, and that thing is big inside.
And it wasn't under the water yet.
And it
Imagine
wasn't
taking
under
it
the
down.
water. It was up. The hatch was open. If they would have closed that hatch, man, I would have been like clawing at it to get out. I don't know how people can do that.
I think you have to acclimate. I don't think it's natural for anyone. I think you have to grow used to it.
Yeah, I would think so. So to be pushed in this small container for 10 hours is what I guess the trip is supposed to be with other human beings. First of all, I don't want to see anybody else go into the bathroom. And it appears that they have a toilet there, but you get on the toilet and do your business.
With four other people navigating.
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't know if I need to see this.
Or you get a joker. You're sitting on the can and someone goes, oh, we're going left. Hey, we're going right. Look out for this guy back
Yeah,
there.
trying to knock you off. Can you knock him off the toilet? So I don't know. I think there's, what happens if somebody had a big breakfast of, I don't know, chilaquiles.
Oh, now I'm hungry. Just
Chilaquiles.
imagine, just imagine what it's like. The carbon fiber construction that you talk about that works so well for cars is made to resist explosions,
Right.
power forces pushing out, which is just the opposite of what we're dealing with here, which is the forces of the entire planet pushing in. What are your chances? Not good. Your chances are not good. And every time you take it down, it gets weaker. And the levels of the lamination provide just what you need. The pressure is great, then greater, then greater, then greater. All you have to do is get one drop of water in between the lamination, and you're done. And you're done in an instant, and then less than an instant.
Yeah, maybe that's the only good thing about the whole thing is that it
Yeah,
happened so fast that none of them
mercy.
had any idea. Because part of what was giving me the heebie-jeebies about the whole thing was I kept envisioning all these people, these people in this thing, just going crazy because they can't get out, they can't
Right.
communicate, they can't do anything.
Nope. It was over a lot quicker than that.
So that's would you rather die the slow death or the quick death? I guess I'm going with quick.
If these are your choices,
Yeah.
could I see the slow death? We don't
Yeah.
actually have a
We don't have it
demonstration.
in stock. It'll be here in about 96 hours.
Yeah.
We'll deliver that. Oh man. I don't know. I just yeah. I feel for the families. I really feel for the family that lost the kid. Um, but in that type of thing, it's always you're always taking a chance. When you get in a
I
race car,
think,
you take a chance. You whatever. I mean, these days going to the supermarket, you take a freaking chance.
and I was just going to get cat food. I should not be under that much of a chance.
Yeah, I was. It's why I think drive-through grocery stores are going to become very popular. If I were gonna invest in a business right now, I think I'd go with drive-through grocery stores. You call them up in advance, you get your order, or you not call them up, but you go on the app, you get the order, you pull up to the drive-through window, you hand them your card's already in the app and everything. They hand you the bag, and that's it. See you later.
They used to
You don't
have
even got to
little
get out of your car.
used to have little stations like the ones you're describing. A man's in the middle and he has a window on each side of him and he has milk and a few items for sale. The car pulls up to the window, milk, hoppers up to the window on this side. He's selling milk out this window and milk out that window. Chocolate milk for you. You need a quart. You need a gallon. Here's a gallon of milk. Used to be Altadena Dairy drive-ins, and they were really cute little stores. And then they
Yeah,
would sit on the corner like a gas station, and people would drive in on both sides and buy stuff.
yeah. They had those. They had those back in not Altadena, but there was drive-through, um, like beer distributors,
Yes, like a package store.
like a package store. You could just drive into the thing and you tell them what you want, and they get it for you, and boom. But I think something like that will be extended now to groceries, and so you don't have to go into the grocery store.
In
Everything.
Miami, in Miami, they had package stores, but they were so used to the illegal days of, of prohibition that to get your beer, you had to get it out the back window. It's like there's a window in back of the store. We need
Tell
two
them
six,
Herbie sent you.
we need 2 6 packs of Coors and some San Francisco Anchor Steam beer. That'll be at the back window. Well, I'm right here. I know, but we do a little different here in Florida. Florida.
And they do
We're in
everything a little bit different in
Everything's
Florida.
a little different in Florida. Go to the back window, please. Do you guys sell dope? Hey, I'll sell that to you right here with
Side
no back
window.
window for that. Yeah, side window.
Go to the side window. Um, I think one of the we talk about all this other stuff that is crazy. I will say that I'm so impressed. Well, there's two engineering feats, I guess, or scientific feats that impressed me this week. One was even you know the fact that they found that debris field
Yeah.
in that expansive space was pretty freaking incredible to me. I mean, even though it seems like I always wondered why they didn't just go from the spot they dropped them, but
They didn't even have a damn locator on that thing. They didn't have a beep going on that you could buy it at any auto show. There was no locator on the device. They didn't know where it was. They didn't know when it stopped sending a
well,
signal.
it had
They didn't
blown.
know
They lost
anything.
the signal from it.
But then the locator itself should have gone somewhere.
Well, I mean, if something blows up like that, I'm doubting it. There's because Cameron even said there's a secondary a redundant system inside the shielding, and that blew apart. I mean, it seems to me that there was. I mean, you probably didn't have the ball on the end of the antenna, the little Union 76 ball that they had on the end of the antenna of that thing.
I love
That
those things.
probably was shattered into a million pieces. There's nothing but DNA of anything.
We used to take those off cars because it was a Dodger promotion. We weren't having any of that. We weren't having it.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, remember those? I don't think they give those out anymore.
They should. That was a wonderful idea.
Yeah, they probably charge you for it. We had them in Cairo. We gave out. I still have them in my stuff. I have a couple of them. We gave out
What would you call them?
ones that look like baseballs.
Ah, good idea.
And then because we had the Mariners, and then of course we lost the Mariners, and so they had a box of 30,000 baseballs in the basement with the logo on it, and nobody wanted to even talk about baseball.
I
They
would
didn't
have
even want you to give the scores.
sold them to Cairo at a slight loss. I mean, Como, whoever had
Yeah.
the game.
Oh,
Who's got them now?
that was a pretty bad time. But that engineering feat, and then this morning they opened up I-95 in Philadelphia,
How about that? Get to work,
which
you lazy
12
louse.
days ago collapsed.
And they said months, 2 months.
Oh, they're easy, even more than that. And the governor was saying, "Oh, it's going to be a long time," and this is and less than 2 weeks later,
Crazy.
they have there's cars right now running over it.
And it's safer now than it was when they thought it was a great way to get to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing to think that we live in a country that could figure that out. I mean, it's pretty impressive to me, and I know that the Department of Transportation in Pennsylvania is a good DOT. They know their stuff.
But there's got to be an all-star behind the story. Don't you think there's an all-star engineer somewhere who said, I got an idea. We'll do this faster and better and cleaner and just follow me.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure there was, because they like I say, Pennsylvania roads are interesting. They are well maintained. It's maybe considering the weather conditions that they have in the state, these are some of the best maintained roads I've ever driven on.
You bring up a great subject. I grew up in California. We didn't have construction season. You
Right.
can build a road in California any day of the week, any month of the year. Now in Washington State, after a long winter, they work on the roads all summer. It drives you crazy because they can't work on them in the winter. It's brutal. And so that's construction season is a fact there, and in many other states that have professional winters, like Minnesota.
I always remember driving across country, man, and many times. I mean, my brother and I went back and forth a gazillion times in the summer, and it was ridiculous how many road closures there were. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, it's the only time they can work on the roads. And if you're going through North Dakota or South Dakota or Idaho or some of those states, even northern Nevada.
Yeah.
I-40. I remember driving out I-40 in like September, and it was, and still there was a ton of. They were rebuilding overpasses, and you got to get off, go on the frontage road, and get back on.
The frontage road. The
We had
frontage
talked
road.
about the frontage road for a long time.
That's American poetry of the finest variety. Frontage road. Let the world gaze upon our frontage road. We invented the frontage road. There were no
Frontage road is ours and nobody else's. It's a uniquely American phenomenon.
And where, if you had to, would you find or point to or show the frontage? What would you say? Look at my beautiful frontage today. Look at the ghastly frontage that man has in front of his house. No.
Guy has not good frontage. And the sad thing is the frontage always comes to a stop at some place.
Road ends.
If you observe long enough when you're driving through, I don't know, Route 10 in Texas, there's a frontage road as you go through I don't know, Austin,
Abilene.
let's say. I forget
Yeah.
what goes through Austin, but there's a frontage road. But then once you get out of the city and you look, all of a sudden that frontage road has a barrier across it and a sign that says end,
Road in. Yeah, end or road ends.
end. So I
Here
drove all this way,
and
and
now
it's
no
the end.
further.
Now I got to drive back all the way.
Well, there's frontage both ways. That's the beauty of a frontage road.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't
you
matter
can't
which way
get.
you're going. Oh,
Well,
you can't get anywhere. No, there's no place to go and no place to get. No way out. It's just frontage, and then it ends.
right, and there's no way you can't cross over the freeway to go back the other way. It's you got to turn around and go back the way you came.
Yeah.
You see that a lot in Utah, where you'll have a small town and there'll be a frontage road for a couple of miles, and then all of a sudden, boop,
And
no frontage road,
none. No, you got. If you want more frontage road, please turn around. There's frontage road that way.
completely gone. Just
And it could be desert, it could be a forest, it could be a housing development, but no road. The frontage road is over. Go back the other way.
it usually abuts up against a ranch
And if you
or
want to go back and get fruit punch and corn nuts, believe me, they're that way. No
yeah, you
problem.
want to turn your vehicle around. And the funny thing is there's never, I won't say never, but in my experience, there are not a lot of signs that tell you that the frontage road is going to end before it ends.
No, they think that that'd be a waste of signage. Oh, they'll see it. What do you mean? Well, it'll end, and the sign says end, and that's pretty much it. People don't just park their car and wait for the end to be over.
Yeah, they
It's
don't sit there and say, "Well, they'll build this thing one day, so I'll just."
like the
Um,
crews are probably on their way.
Sometimes you'll see uh, campers, people that live in their vans. They gather at the end of the frontage road and set up a little camp there or something like that. But eventually, the cops will come along and chase them.
Why don't you go down the frontage road and get some fruit punch and corn nuts like the rest of us?
Right over at the Aramco station. They'd be happy to serve you. Uh,
And my advice is do not have one of their hot dogs, even if they cover it with slaw. Do not eat the dogs.
I don't know, Mikey. I've had some pretty good gas station hot dogs in my day.
It depends on the turnover. How long has that hot dog been turning on that little?
Well, yeah, when it gets all shriveled up, if you leave it on that little rotating grill, enough, for long enough time, it gets shriveled up. Much as if you leave it on a barbecue grill.
I'll have that hot dog right there at the end. No, don't eat that one. That's our. That's our. We've
Yeah,
had that one on since Jimmy Carter was president. We just see what happens if we cook it forever.
and if you bite into it, it snaps. It doesn't, it doesn't mush. It it has a snap. It could break your teeth.
This hot dog is cold on one side. Here, put it back on for a little while. Just put it right on the. That's it.
Yes, it's thoroughly cooked. And it's
Really
not an
good.
amount of sauerkraut or mustard or onions or anything that can
Nothing will cure that taste.
disguise it. Not a Kaiser bun, not a Hawaiian bun,
So that's all
not
meant
a
to distract you. Don't be distracted by the bun.
not a not
There's
a cornbread bun.
there's a gas station dog in there somewhere, and do not eat it. Do not eat that dog.
We're telling you, that dog when it gets inside of you separates itself, and it's nothing but cause trouble with everything else in your stomach.
Because those hot dogs are laminated with carbon fiber, and when they split, they go for broke.
It starts kicking other foods' asses down there until it's kicked its way out of yours.
It will leave a debris field inside of you that you don't want to know about.
You don't want to see that. Um, so yeah, the frontage road. We have to one day we have to go out and do our show from a frontage road. We have to pick a frontage road uh, with the big end barrier
It's got to
and
have
do
a
our
nice
show
end
right
there.
from there.
Yep.
Just
The
sit
show
there
that
and
goes The show that goes nowhere because it can't. We're stuck on the frontage road.
We're on the frontage road radio. I mean, it's
I
it would
bet.
be actually
Yeah.
kind of funny. Frontage road radio. I think that's a podcast series, Michael. We go and we get off and go to different frontage roads and just interview people. Why are you
Guess,
on the
yeah.
frontage road?
Guess where we are. We're going to play the result of our interviews. We'll talk a little bit about what we see. We'll show you the end sign, and you guess what frontage road we're on.
I've
Win a
listened
prayer
to
cloth.
podcasts that offer less.
You could win a prayer cloth.
So, what do we have among our baseball teams this weekend? The Giants continue to,
Giants finally lost one.
yeah, but they were going to lose one anyway at some point, right?
Now we have the Arizona Diamondbacks coming to town for 3 games. So this is a fight for first place. Is starting tonight in San Francisco.
Yeah, I will say that I just, on June 24th, is it, or 23rd?
23rd.
It's not a fight for first place yet.
Well, for now,
Yeah,
somebody's
in
got to be in
August,
first
it's a
place.
fight for. Right now, it's just it's right now it's go in and show them that you can kick their butts,
Or
so
make
that
it a
we can meet 'em
make it
again.
make the 10-game winning streak a turning point that revitalized the team, put them on top, and they never relinquished their winning ways afterwards. After showing themselves they could win 10 in a row, they went on to win more. In fact, we even had a guy who I've been waiting for him to kick in and be a good pitcher. His name is Jelly, Hjelle. He's Scandinavian. He's 6'11". He's the tallest pitcher in the major leagues. And Stan Jelly was pitching on against the San Diego Padres and went 7 innings of great ball, striking guys out, shutting down, putting out fires, keeping the Padres off the bases. And I've been waiting for this guy to catch up with his body, because you remember Randy Johnson had speed, strength, everything he needed. He just couldn't control his strike zone always.
Yeah, it took him a little time to. Well, that was the famous story with Nolan Ryan, right? Did Nolan Ryan kind of get with him and
say, look,
kind
you
of
can fix this,
teach him some stuff?
And one thing you do when you got trouble like that is stop doing it the way you're doing it and listen to somebody else and do it that way. Anyway, Jelly pitched well. I hope that this continues to be a factor for him because he's huge. He should be able to compete and contribute to the team. And if that's the direction he's going in, I applaud the arrival of a young pitcher who's just too big to play baseball. I'm sure he was told that, buddy, I don't know what sport you want to play, but you should be shooting hoops.
Yeah. I always love tall pitchers because the ball just moves differently from them. Yeah, it comes. Yeah, it comes in this way that you just don't really expect it to come. And I don't know that I don't know that you do get used to it. Now, Randy had the distinct advantage of being able to throw it at like 105 miles an hour.
But it came from your ear. It came over by third base.
Right. It didn't come from where you were used to seeing it come from.
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of people that could adjust to that. I mean, I don't know who had the best lifetime career average off of Randy Johnson, but if you got a hit off of Randy Johnson, you felt like you accomplished. If you just made contact off of Randy, you felt like you accomplished something.
I don't recall anybody owning Randy Johnson. Let me up there, boy. I love facing Randy Johnson. I'm batting .750 against him.
Yeah, I don't know that there was either. You know that the Oakland A's still haven't won 20 games yet?
That's the Las Vegas A's, please. We've officially cut ties. They're
19 and 58. They are without a doubt threatening the Mets record.
Did you see what Tom Hanks tweeted about the A's?
No.
Damn you owners to hell.
Well, Tom could buy the A's.
Probably sorry you didn't. And move them to Gilmore Field. There'd
I
be
mean,
three teams in LA. The LA A's.
look, Mikey, let me ask you this in seriousness. With all the problems that Oakland has, not that they don't deserve a baseball team, but can they effectively handle a baseball team?
No.
I, I mean, that's why I'm not so broken up about it. I guess I'm broken up about it because it just seems that it's getting worse for Oakland every day, and I like Oakland. When I first came to San Francisco, I made I worked in Oakland, and I got to know the place, and you know, there was a lot of good people there still.
It's
I
always
don't know
been a
that
home
that's the
for.
truth in Oakland anymore.
I think the Oakland of today is probably more upscale, more expensive, more difficult to get into than it used to be. But that's just people moving from Livermore to someplace where they're going to live,
Yeah,
moving from
parts of it.
Vallejo to
Yeah,
someplace.
yeah. I mean, places like Rockridge and places like that were always.
But to open up the idea of Oakland being a major league city with all that entails, no, they can't play that game. They cannot play it financially. They've never been able to. They cannot. And we sometimes curse Al Davis for starting the exodus from Oakland, but the fact is he knew that he was playing in a market that wasn't as rich and as supportive as Dallas or New York or LA. And he wanted that. And you can't have, just because wanting it is one thing, but playing Major League football or baseball in Oakland is an impossible thing. Now, the game is so expensive. The quality of buy-in money is so unbelievably egregious. This will be the last deal ever where a state makes a deal with baseball for $400 million. It's never going to happen again. It's not going to pay off for Vegas for a long time. Now, playing baseball on the Strip at the old place of the Tropicana or
Yeah,
whatever
Tropicana.
Tropicana, the Stardust, that appeals to me. That makes good baseball sense. I think people in Las Vegas are going to be there from all over the world. When baseball season's happening in June in Vegas, people from all over the world are going to be seeing the A's play teams from all over the world. And it makes sense financially. Not the $400 million, but the play out of how successful they could be going into the future.
Right.
But the A's have have taken this negative aspect toward management where the ball players don't matter and winning doesn't matter. What matters? What matters to the owners of the Oakland A's? Nothing
I think
except the
right now
400
getting
million.
the team packed up and going to Vegas
Yeah.
is what matters. And I think it's sad because at the very least, you should give the people of Oakland your best effort.
They gave him the
Uh,
finger.
Even if you're, yeah, I mean, even if you're leaving, you still should put a decent team out there, a competitive team. The team that the Oakland Athletics field these days is not a major league team.
It's funny. Everybody else is bringing up their AAA players that having a chance to make a name for themselves in the majors, but the A's don't seem to have anything in the holster at AAA that they're waiting to spring on the rest of the league.
Yeah, I mean it's a mess, because you have again, I don't foresee doing anything about it.
It's done.
What is it? 3 years before they're going to be able to get down there. Now
What
maybe they'll
about
make a deal to
what
play
about the
at.
what about the curse? The Philadelphia A's, the Kansas City A's, the Oakland A's. The Did I miss one?
No, I think yeah, not the Philly,
Now the Las Vegas
Kansas
A's.
City, Oakland.
It's like the curse of the Titanic. I mean, you may not understand it, but it's a fact. That ship is going down.
Well, it would be hard for them to go down in Vegas. The one thing that I would suggest to the Oakland owners is that they start gathering their stars together before they hit Vegas.
Yeah.
because the Vegas mindset right now in
Showbiz.
professional sports is that you make the playoffs.
Show me.
That was forever changed by the Golden Knights there, or whatever they call them, the hockey
Yeah, the
team,
Golden Knights, right.
who made this, got to the Stanley Cup playoffs in their first year
Yeah,
and won the
it's a major
Stanley Cup this
challenge.
year.
That's a big challenge.
And so it's gonna and I think we all know that building a baseball team is a lot harder than building a hockey team.
Well, they allow gambling with a machine during the game. Can you bet on the game as the game progresses?
I'm sure that they're gonna have that. I'm sure that they're gonna figure out a way to get that done. The odds will be up on the scoreboard. Um,
Come see the Las Vegas A's. We sometimes cover the spread.
probably could be one of their advertising campaigns. Progressives behind second base pays big.
Do you know? Have you heard about the A's parlay?
No, what is that?
Uh, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Just give me $50. There you go. Now you're in. What do I win? If the parlay, we don't understand the parlay in Vegas yet. We're going to work on that.
Well, I think one of the things that's going to happen with the A's, I think, is a long time dream of mine and something that I used to do back when we used to go to Shea Stadium and they first introduced it will be realized, and that will be um, in Pittsburgh. It's the pierogies that race. And here it's the hydros. They used to have two balls that used to race at Shea Stadium, and my friends and I always used to bet on which one was going to win
Of
all the
course.
time. And now,
What's it going to be?
boom! Right. So now you're going to legally be able to bet on
But what's the Vegas?
the
Is it going
the,
to be?
the entertain whatever they have. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have like two slot machines running or three slot machines or whatever.
What about elephants? The elephant used to be the image of the
I was
A's.
thinking that. I was thinking it would be really cool, but I have a suspicion that the A's are going to try to rid themselves of anything nostalgic.
I don't know. I think the thing to do is use 3 real elephants. That's what you got to do
Might take a while.
to finish the race. Or when they get
Well,
to the
yeah.
end,
I mean, they
the
started them.
elephant.
I mean, how long would it take an elephant to get from, let's say, left field where they started it to the right field foul pole where they would finish it? I mean, the pierogies take a long time.
30 seconds, whatever.
Um,
Elephants can move. Sometimes they get to the end and they don't want to stop moving. Now you got a problem. But
well, I think elephant might be a bit more of of a of a problem, of a management problem than anything else. And then on top of it, you know that you're going to have you do that, and you know who's coming down your, breathing down your neck.
ARP, or not
Yeah,
ARP.
I mean the animal cruelty people.
And somebody's
They're
got
going
to
to say
clean
that
up.
the elephants are kept in chains and they're kept this and that and the other thing, and next thing you know, you'll have that problem going on because I suspect that there are those groups in Las Vegas.
Well, then
Too.
treat them beautifully, and you can visit them after the game. Come visit the Oakland A's element. This one is what's this one called? This was Vida. That's Catfish, and the big one over there, that's Charlie O.
It would be interesting. Maybe they'll have mechanical elephants. They could put them on
Ooh.
top of the outfield wall, and they could just move along.
Artificial elephants.
It'd be like the game at the amusement park where you put the ball into the thing and the greyhounds move
Oh
mechanically.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you could do something like that there.
Or animated elephants. Get Pixar to do a good job on it.
See, I never tried animated ones. Like, I don't trust the hydro. The hydro thing isn't random. Somebody's programming one of those things to win.
It's probably done with a random oscillator. Well, what would you do? You have one winning video for each of the three elephants. You have one winning video when one falls down at the.
I'd have 3 people behind a wall. Matter of fact, if you really wanted to make it interesting, you could pick 3 people out of the crowd
Oh dear.
and give them. You'd have the tallest elephant, which is a yellow one, the middle elephant, which is a white one, and the lowest elephant, which is a green one. And you got to hold a stick up and run. And
Oh, I get it. I get it.
and
Yeah,
so all you see is the elephants moving on the top of the outfield wall, but you have these 3 human beings in back, and they're
fighting for
holding
their
the elephant
lives.
stick up and running. Whoever wins, you give them a free season ticket or something.
I like it. I like that.
And I mean, to me, that's a great way to do it because you have the possibility of not only winning money when you get there, but you have the possibility of participating in the race. You can't say it's fixed because you're taking 3 people out of the crowd.
Who knew?
Give them a television set or something. I don't know. Give them some prize with an extra prize for winning.
$100 voucher for.
Gas station hot dogs.
I was going to say for any table play at Caesar's Palace, but maybe not.
Give them, yeah. I mean, there's a million ways you could do it where it'd be interesting for not only interesting for people, for and you could bet on them.
You know, they could have one of the most interesting and entertaining stadiums in the league if they brought in entertainment and spectacle and hoopla and make it a bit of a circus atmosphere.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
still
but
got to play
then
ball. You still got to
does
win
the
and
game
lose.
get lost? I mean, the game gets lost enough these days.
Well, don't take the focus off the game between innings. The seventh inning something, the seventh inning spectacular. The elephant races I think are a great idea. Uh, what else can we do? Can we have a pool in center field? What happens when you hit a home run in Vegas? What extraordinary thing happens? I mean, a guy in lederhosen sliding down a slide, that seems
Yeah, no, no, you
terrible.
got to no, you got to have I don't know, maybe a pair of tumbling dice or something like that, or
Or a hole in the desert opens up and the guy gets in and close. You never see him
that
again.
you could do that. You could have Nicky Santoro and his brother just standing over a grave that they dug, and when somebody hits a home run, boom! You show Frank Vincent whacking them with the bat, and they fall into the hole.
Every time, I'm telling you, it happens every time.
That's the play right there, man. That's the thing. You just have that shot when Joe Pesci's walking like the cock at a walk, and then all of a sudden, what's his name picks up the baseball bat and just gives him a whack in the back.
Then he knew. There was little doubt in his mind after that.
There was little doubt in his mind that he had a slow and painful death coming up for both him and his brother.
Well, what do you do when you hit into a double play? There's got to be some sort of a 2-for-1 penalty there.
Well, you could bet on what players are going to be involved in the double play. Like if you had a 4-3, that would be the
Oh
lowest
yeah,
odds because that's the most uh, common double play probably, or 6-4-3,
and the triple play payoff.
and then you could bet on the combination of players that would do the double play.
It makes my parlay seem ancient by comparison.
And you could also have you know a, $1,000, I don't know, an extra, I don't know, $1,000 playoff for a K 26, strike him out,
And
throw him out.
And if you're going to have in-game gambling, it has to be separate from the players knowing about it. They can't be aware of what's at stake because that's not a good
Yeah,
that's
see,
not a
that's
good look.
and therein lies the problem, my friend.
Yep, there's a problem.
Therein lies the problem because at some point
Somebody's going to get to them.
somebody is gonna is gonna do a Pete Rose.
What's your name? Rothstein. And I understand you enjoy baseball. Yeah, part of the game appeals to me.
Yeah, you should have seen me at the 1909 World Series. No, or
It was
1919 World Series, I should say.
it was beautiful, actually.
To
Came
me,
out
it
just the
was,
way I
yeah.
wanted.
Yeah, but it's going to be. I mean, there are definitely challenges, but in this day and age of social media and all this kind of stuff, and rule breaking. I mean, all of the old mores
Swept
that
aside.
that we've had have been swept aside. I mean, if you'd have told somebody 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, that some guy was going to show up with his car at your house to give you a ride
And you were going to get in.
and you were going to get in, you'd think you were in Brooklyn or something. Because that's the only kind of place that happened. But then all of a sudden, a company came along, spread enough money around to the local officials.
But it got accepted. Somebody still had to call them and get in the car.
Yeah, that
We're willing to do that.
that people accepted it. That well, yeah, that people changed their idea of getting into a car with somebody.
And you end up talking to the driver more than if he had been a taxi driver because here's a guy from the neighborhood who's just doing this to make a few extra bucks, or a housewife who worked the all-night shift. Boy, I've been up all night. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night? I got a ride from a housewife at LAX at 11:30 at night. I get into her car, total stranger. She takes me to Pasadena. What kind of world are we living in when we both agree that that's okay?
Yeah, where you used to have to buy a medallion and have a
Yeah.
taxi, and the car had to be inspected, and and certain precautions had to be taken. You had to have your picture up there with your license number, and you had to keep a log of all the people that you took and where, the Uber thing. I mean, yeah, they keep a log, but it's. I mean, when you think about it, it's so bizarre. It's so freaking bizarre.
It's like going to see the Titanic with a total stranger. You just get into his car, he drives halfway there, and you never see him again.
That was happening with some Uber drivers. I mean, that's what they increased security, but you know, uh, in the beginning when Uber first started, and I was driving Uber for a year or so. Um, you they were letting. I mean, they weren't waiting for background checks. They were putting your name in a computer and sending you your Uber stuff, saying, "Okay, go out there and make money,"
Go
because
get
they
out
needed
there.
drivers so bad.
Yeah.
And you weren't picking up the creme de la creme. Let me tell you, it was not pretty what you
It
were
was.
picking up,
No.
but you did it. You had to
Where were you?
earn
Where were you driving?
in Pittsburgh. So it wasn't horrible. I what I did after the first week I would come out at night and go from 8 o'clock at night till didn't feel like working. Once I had a weekend of taking people home from bars,
Goodbye.
I said, you know what? I'll change this up. I'll
I'll
do
do the day
something different.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do the day shift. I'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive people to the airport if that's what it has to be, because it was brutal. Um, because you'd have all these young kids that were, I don't know that the mainstream had accepted Uber quite yet, but yeah, but on college campuses it was really popular. So you were always doing runs uh, from the south side. back to Pitt or the South Side, you know, over to Carnegie Mellon or something like that, with highly intoxicated young people who didn't know how to act or, you know,
Couldn't remember what their major was.
couldn't remember where they lived.
Yeah.
I remember I had one guy one night. He get, he put his address into the phone, and I get there and it's the school. You want me to drop you off here? No, take me home. Well, where do you live? I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, let's see what we can do about that.
And you don't want to just throw them out of your car, and over by Pitt. But at some point, I got to the point where I pulled over with the guy and said, "Listen,
This is
you got to get
close.
out here.
Yeah.
You could either find a cop and get you home or whatever."
A little
But
walk wouldn't hurt you.
yeah, it was kind of bizarre driving Uber there, and actually after a while I started to think it was dangerous.
Well, there's a danger involved. Sure there
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I'd driven a cab in San Francisco, so I knew what the day could be. But this was, in a cab at least you had the partition and you had an emergency button that if anything went wrong you could hit it. There were things in the cab, pieces of protection. In your car, you didn't have anything.
No, no.
Matter of fact, you had to flip two screens to get to the help button,
Whoa.
which I think they've corrected since then. But there was no like just one push button
That's wrong.
to get to get help if something was going down. So
So on a
I'm not.
Freaky Friday, we learned that the world is just as freaky as Friday is. The world is a freaky place.
It
When you
is a
put
freaky place,
when you
Mikey.
when you peel away the covering, it all looks nice, polite, and civilized, and you realize right under the distant cover, there's Marjorie Taylor Greene grinning at you.
Oh God. I really kind of wish that her and Bobert would have actually started fighting on the floor of the Senate,
Handfuls of hair.
floor of the House.
Well, that's next,
I would
definitely.
have.
And she'll take out Matt Gaetz. She'll take him down 2 out of 3.
No, I want to see the two women go at it. Let's
Well, my
let's see
money's on
Bobert and
Bobert.
Taylor Greene hash it out.
Bobert's slightly undersized, but I think she's quicker and more resilient than Marjorie Taylor Greene, who thinks she's undefeatable, but I don't think she has moves.
Well, no, see, I disagree. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene probably got some moves that she ain't shown anybody yet. I mean, look at her. She looks like a
That's
rough woman.
that is disturbing imagery.
Yeah, she looks like somebody who's kicked an ass or two in her life.
Does she have
Um,
children?
Bobert, not so much. But yeah, definitely Marjorie Taylor Greene looks like she looks like it could be a bouncer somewhere.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is angry all the time because Bobert is the cute one. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the what do you
Gruff
call
one.
her? She's the rough one. She's the one that smells like a late night, a rough night.
I wonder if she'll have a cologne by Christmas.
Rough night by MJ.
Yeah, Rough Night by
MTG.
MTG. Can you make a cologne that smells like cigarettes and booze?
Your initials are an abbreviation for meeting. Yes, and we will meet soon. It could be fun. It could be wonderful. It could be, but if you're a Democrat, it could be an awful night.
Oh God! And
I think she's going to get together with
now
Robert
dollars
Kennedy.
to donuts that Trump is going to pick her as his running mate. Well, that's good because people will forget about Sarah Palin quickly.
I think the mess that he's in right now, he will suspend his campaign before it's all over.
I don't think he will. I mean, he may. Yeah, I don't think he's got it in him to do that. He can't admit he's wrong. He can never. When is any time you ever heard him say Gee, we didn't do that right. We
We
should have
got
done
that
it
wrong. Yeah, yeah.
differently. I got that wrong.
Never.
I don't think those words have ever passed his lips. He can't do that in his
Well,
constitution.
then he'll take the way of the coward. Sewer pipes.
Well, I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't head for Bimini when the charges were coming down, and he knew that his guys are ratting him out.
I'd like to see him try and get like 300 or 400 yards off coast, and here comes the Coast Guard. Two Coast Guard cutters cut off his cigarette boat, and oh dear.
Why wouldn't you just let him go?
No, I want to see him in handcuffs. Misery,
Nah,
misery.
you know what?
Come on back.
If he would take off to Bimini, if he would go there and stay there and run away from it all, like Adam Clayton Powell did many years ago, um, I think that would be, that to me would disconnect him from a large number of his supporters.
If he
But
lives, he represents a danger to the
yeah,
nation,
but if he's in jail, he represents a danger too.
but
If
not
he's
to the danger becomes his own. Then he assumes the danger in jail.
No, I don't see. I think it's the opposite.
They wouldn't protect him.
Well, but he gets protection. I mean, the Secret Service will still have to protect him in jail.
Secret Service will come to the conclusion that you know what, this is one stupid job. I'm in jail.
They might do that, Michael. I mean, these are some of the things that they're going to have to figure out. If he does get convicted, he does get a jail sentence. It would stand to reason that he doesn't get Secret Service, that all bets are off. But there's no law that says that. There's no, I mean,
What the law says is that he gets protection no matter what, theoretically, but we've
theoretically, yeah,
never been
he gets
tested.
protection. He and his family get protection until he dies.
That can be arranged.
No, I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I don't, and to be honest with you, it would probably just make him a martyr.
Forget everything that he did and just remember him as he was.
You got to make him look weak. You got to make him look like, Jimmy Cagney in Angels with Dirty Faces, when he goes to the electric chair and he's crying and screaming and grabbing onto the radiator, and tough Rocky Sullivan doesn't want to get strapped into the electric chair.
There's not a lot of fun. There's no upside to it. I'll say that. It takes longer than a submersible.
Unless you have those rechargeable batteries strapped to you. Because you think about it, I mean, you could get in the electric chair and recharge the battery, so at least people's phones would stay on a little bit longer.
That would be nice. That would be a gesture that won't be forgotten. You will be forgotten.
A way to give back as you're going out.
Yeah. When you say give back, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's you're charging people's batteries.
Oh, give back. I got it. I thought you were saying back.
I was. Yeah, give back. You could give back to people by charging their phone batteries.
Just hold on to this wire.
It's a small gesture, but it's,
We'll never forget it.
You'll never forget it.
Never forget Rocky Sullivan.
And when they electrocuted Trump, he had this on him. This is an actual battery.
This was a 50-cent piece, which is now slightly melted.
Exactly. So, Mikey, what do you have coming up on Drive Time tomorrow?
I'm driving the new Porsche 4-door. It's a beauty. I saw a Porsche Carrera yesterday. My God, what a beautiful car. It wasn't the 4-door. It was the old 2-door, whatever the 911 became.
Yeah.
And it was just structurally so enticing.
They're beautiful cars.
They're beautiful cars.
They're beautiful cars. I don't think the 4 doors look kind of weird.
Funny.
On that body design. It doesn't look right, but
it looks like a Jaguar.
Yeah, the 2-door is gorgeous. You know, that's a car that will, yeah, it's a classic. I mean, it looks, the newer edition looks fairly the same as the old ones. You know, there's still, you can still see that
The classic design.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're great cars,
I was on the
and
freeway yesterday at commute time. All the cars in the world are on the 134 with me, and one car goes by that changes the sound of a car forever. You hear it coming. You go, "What the hell's that?" Sounds like a plane's landing. It drives by me on the left side and pulls ahead. Then I realize what I was hearing: a black Lamborghini. Jesus, what a sound!
yeah, it definitely makes well,
Of
the
all the
sounds of
other,
these cars, there's some cars I drive that, I don't listen to the radio the whole week that I
it's just,
drive it.
it's too good. The sound is too good.
Yeah, you just listen to the sound. Now they're programming that sound into cars. So if you have an electric, like this Volkswagen I'm driving this week, there's a thing there where you can program like a regular gasoline engine sound into it. I believe it's on this one.
You can hear it, or everyone can hear it.
You can hear it. I don't think you can do it that everyone could hear it. That might be against the law. But it'll rev with the
The accelerator.
as you press the accelerator pedal. I do love this car though. It's the Volkswagen ID4. It has one pedal driving, and I've really become now spoiled with one pedal driving.
Where's the brake?
Well, when you let off the brake, the electricity stops the car. Now, the BMW I drove a couple of weeks ago, that one was so good that it actually brought the car to a full stop. With this
Wow.
one, with this Volkswagen, you have to tap the brake. But it's still, it's you're using 1 foot, and I know it sounds like a small little thing,
I think you'd have to learn how to do it.
but it's relaxing. You're not, there's something about not moving, just taking your foot off the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal.
Now, does that work reliably in heavy traffic where you're go and stop,
The
go and
one I
stop?
had in the BMW did, yes. Well, what you can do in heavy traffic is you can put on the Distronic cruise control and set it for like 20 miles an hour. So what that will do is that'll automatically stop the car and speed it up in traffic. So you really don't have to do anything.
Wow.
You just got to be awake and aware so that if by some chance something goes wrong, you can step on the brake right away.
Which isn't there. You have to step on the brake that's not there.
Well, the brake is there. It's just that you don't use it. But with the Distronic um, driving system, it's all done by LiDAR. So it
And
will
so, and so
literally follow the car in front of you.
if I was brand new driver, first time taking it, and I go to the corner, it's going to stop for me.
If you
Uh,
set it right,
my learning curve was not prevented from acting correctly.
you have to set it right. Yeah, I mean, because if you leave it off, then none of it works, and you just drive it like a regular car.
Okay.
It's not like it only has that. I mean, you can drive it as a regular car, not putting any of those systems on. They're all able to switch on and off, um, except I think the automatic braking. I don't know if in some cars, I think there might be some cars where you can't switch off the automatic braking. So, but that's set up more for pedestrian because people look at their cell phones so much when they're driving these days that they needed to come up with something that stopped them even when they were looking at their cell phones.
And they've done it.
It's pretty crazy, Michael. Anyway, so we're going to do that, and we're going to talk about. Will you be talking about the nude car show tomorrow?
Nude?
The nude car show.
I think we'll all be talking about it. By the
coming
way,
up
those
in August.
in the middle of August when you sit on that hot front seat, boy, you can do a dance then.
Yeah. So the nude car show in Wisconsin, I'm thinking we should go. We should report live from there.
I think it's a perfectly sensible idea. Will we have to be nude as well?
I don't know. Like, I mean, if you go into a nudist camp, you do as the Romans do, right?
And in this case, we're going to have to do as the Badgers do. We'll be in Wisconsin.
Who have you ever been to a nudist camp?
No.
Ah, it's a little
Where did you
strange.
Where did you go?
Lupin, which is down near San Jose.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was like just off of 17.
Everything's off of 17 in
Yeah,
that part of
everything's
the
off of
world.
17. It was just off of Route 17. It was actually a really fun experience. I actually really enjoyed it.
Who'd you go
Um,
with?
I went with a bunch of my friends from Santa Rosa, and everybody
That
got
rough
naked.
that rough Santa Rosa crowd.
That rough Santa Rosa crowd, yes. And everybody got naked. And I always remember that the strangest thing in going was watching. They had a softball game going on, so everybody is nude except that they have sneakers and little
And socks.
stockings on.
And what were their views on sliding into second base?
I don't think a lot of people were into sliding. I think it was much more a thing where everybody went in standing up.
It's a stand-up game.
The stand-up game, but it was funny to watch that and volleyball. People were playing
Yeah,
volleyball. And
yeah.
they had their sneakers on, their athletic shoes.
There's a lot of leaping about and flinging oneself.
Yes, and I just remember how funny that struck me. It was there was a lot of I mean it was it was interesting because after a while it
It
doesn't hit you anymore.
No, it's amazing, but that's true.
Yeah, it's just you're just looking at people, and you're not looking, although I will say there were a couple of people that took exceptional care of their bodies,
Yes.
and you would look a little longer at them.
That was a form of entertainment.
Yeah, you would definitely. But it was weird, but I'm glad I did it. I mean, I would do it again. What
Well,
the heck?
I'm past the time when anybody gives a damn, so maybe I would too.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. I mean, nobody's gonna look at me and go, they're gonna look at me and go, cover your eyes. You have to wear a mask.
You go get a towel.
That must have been funny if you had to wear a mask in the nudist camp. That would have been something to see. But I would be prepared for that because I would have my
Oh, here we go.
there you go, Mikey.
That looks so weird today. Well, Vinny, I know you got a busy weekend. You're going down to see the Titanic with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Lowell Bobert.
I'm not going anywhere near those people or that place.
They
Again,
said you were. They said you were coming. They mentioned your name.
I feel bad for the families of those people, but sometimes listen, the people that got in the wagon trains and came out west from back east probably took much of a similar risk.
The risks were probably worse.
Yeah, they knew that they were going to get ambushed at some point, and that they were going to have problems, and some of
And
them
there
would
was
starve, and some of them the same thing with the Dust Bowl people from like the Jodes and Grapes of Wrath. You're
and
always
same.
taking you always, life is taking chances, right?
There are some times when you take a chance in life when you know no help is coming. There's nobody to
Right.
call, nobody to plead with, nobody to appeal to. It's over.
And that's the chance that these guys took. And as I said earlier in the show, the only one I feel I mean, listen, they except for the kid, And more information will come out about that in the days to come, I'm sure. Um, except for the kids, they were all doing what they wanted to do.
And what about the money that they paid? Is that refundable?
I'm
Probably
sure there's
not.
going to be a few lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be. I'm sure there's. Yeah, I'm sure attorneys are lining up at their doors right now.
The attorneys already lined up when they signed a document that mentioned their own death 3 times.
That would have had me calling an attorney. Well, I don't think I would have ever signed a document like that. If it's that dangerous that you got to get me to sign off
You have to sign off. You have to
on my
pay
dying, then
pay a
I
quarter.
probably don't want to go.
Give me $250,000, and if you just sign this simple document, please. It mentions your death 3 times, and you might want to read it. But what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they. Well, again, it's like that. It's what lawyers have told me consistently throughout the years. Is that don't believe. When you sign something, always remember that you probably can get out of it
Over time.
over time. Yeah, that there are enough lawyers in the world that know how to question these things, how to legally tie them up, how to make it so it's easier for them to just settle with you and get you, release you from your obligation than it is for them to fight you. And that's part of what the problem is today in America, right? Is that
People
everybody
don't
runs
really.
to a lawyer, they sign something, and then they run to a lawyer and say, I don't like this. Well, what'd you sign it for? Well,
Yeah, I wasn't
I wanted
thinking.
to go on the ride. You know, well, they just banged up my cable bill by $25 a month, and they didn't even tell me. They just took the money out of my account. Well, how can they
What'd you
do that?
sign?
They said, well, when you sign the terms of service there and you put your signature there, you click yes, I agree. That's what you agreed to.
And plus, they had your account number. You gave it to them. Where do you think they got the money?
You gave them your account number. Did you think they weren't going to do something like that?
In fact, they've
So
got everybody's account number. They love doing this. They do it all day long.
yeah, I'm sure that you know, I mean, and I don't think anytime soon people are going to start reading the terms of service on everything. I'm sure that if you go to Facebook's terms of service,
You'd
there are
never
plenty
sign
of
it.
clauses in there to tell you that they are going to take your data and anything you put on Facebook and use it
And sell it in any way they can.
and sell it any way they can. That's the price you pay for using the service. Nothing in the world is free.
If you don't want to use it, then you got to shut down your Facebook account. Well, I can't do that. I wanted to say something about the Yankees today. I was already with a smarmy remark,
How will I keep in touch with my family? Well, don't you have telephones?
but they never answer. They see it's me.
They see it's you, right? Exactly.
Vinny, have a great weekend. Have a great show tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
You too, Mikey. I will be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock for drive time. And
What if the
for the
creek?
rest
What
of
if
you,
the
I'll
what if
catch up with you. Well, everybody watch drive time tomorrow. You
what
should
if the
watch.
creek
You'll learn
rises?
something.
Has the creek risen lately? We always talk about it. Is the creek
The
doing
Lord's
anything?
willing, the creek don't rise. We will be here Monday morning at 10:10. Mikey, as the great Sammy Davis Jr. always says, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you,
See you
Vin.
later.